Hello everyone and welcome to Genshin Impact. Today, we are an attorney! Yay! I don't really know what the full story of this case is, but I guess we're gonna roll with it and figure it out.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course.
Blah 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 blah, there's a trolley under the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying.
Why?
There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell.
That's the point!
What did you hear while you were inside your box?
The people counting
The
down?
roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
Exactly.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Well, I'm not sure he would've. He was in a box.
Hey,
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Bruh.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
They probably represent the Oratrace's stance on the trial, so right now, we are not winning.
aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
What?
the House of the Hearth?
They're Fatui? Also, I feel like I've never heard of House of the Hearth, but I guess that means they're Fatui?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the
Well,
serial
now,
disappearances were the
This isn't
Fatui
painting
doing.
a very good look
Now it
right
all
now.
makes sense.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
So you're agreeing. You didn't deny that at
Indeed.
all.
Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that one
They really
minute.
are Fatui? What do we say?
The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted?
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Yeah, it's pretty important information.
Are these claims true?
Oh dear.
I'm sorry. Yes,
I still trust
they're true,
Liddy.
Your Honor.
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Granted.
My client has withheld some key information. My defense cannot proceed.
In that case, what is your request?
I request a brief adjournment. There are things that must be discussed.
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived their own attorney.
What the heck?
What is there left to discuss?
I'm just delaying it a little bit. It's not a big
Order,
deal.
I say. Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now?
I'm not gonna
You
lose.
certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Oh dear.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two.
Yeah.
We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm
I'm not mad.
very
I'm
sorry.
just disappointed.
I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain.
Okay.
I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
Save
That's right.
people.
I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too.
Is it coincidence?
But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry.
I believe that.
Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but...
Explain the other issue first. Where did you actually go while the trick was being performed?
Right. Let's hear your answer first.
We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick with the objective of getting close to the core. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box.
I
So,
see.
after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to
The
investigate the
vent.
room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
And what did you find?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice.
What?
Which should have been
Pilot's
impossible,
face.
of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room.
Wait,
That
someone's
voice seemed
voice.
to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came.
Is this the culprit? What is going on here, huh?
On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought.
So it did happen.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
But why do you want to understand how the Oratrice operate? This is a dumb question. Like, I want to know too, but
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
I'll defend you from the
Okay.
charges.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two.
Pretty badly.
If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Actually, we already have the key evidence we need.
Huh?
Let us continue the trial. Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linny's perspective.
Based on the opponent's account of events, you can identify loopholes in their statement. Oh boy, that sounds complicated.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When
Sure.
the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linny red-handed. So Linny proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box.
Why would he put him in the box?
Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections?
How do I interact? This one. Identify loopholes. Linny claims he headed to the chamber containing the Oratrice core upon entering the tunnel and did not witness the crime taking place and thus did not hear the thud. Oh. However, was Linny really in the tunnel? Can I use this one?
Seems this won't.
Really? Loud thud. Oh, that's a loud thud one. There we go.
According to Linny, he left via.
Yeah. You don't need to explain this. That he kidnapped Halsey. No one left the opera house during the magic show. Lindy claims to have heard a mysterious voice. Maybe it was Cowell? Maybe it was the criminal?
Linny
Oh.
went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core.
Linny knocked Cowell out. No one left the opera house. The clothes belonging to Halsey. Linny must have been very confused when he saw them.
Linny
There you
did
go.
not.
Ahem. Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say!
Yeah.
When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored.
We're not going to tell you why, apparently.
Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent.
Let's go.
Paimon actually managed to say all that. Wasn't it awesome?
It was great. You're so
other
awesome
words,
at this, Paimon.
You believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
Yes.
Right! And if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
That's kind of what I asked.
They have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims?
Do you happen to remember how you refuted Linny's alibi initially?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? You're saying that he wasn't?
Choose the most... Oh, some evidence. Which is the evidence that Linny wasn't in the tunnel when the crime took place?
Are you sure we don't need to give this more thought?
Oh, entrances and exits?
Are you sure we don't need to give this more...
None of these actually make any sense to me. Why
That's
can't I talk
right.
about the vent?
Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance.
Why couldn't vent be
This means
the
that
option?
when the crime happened, Lenny had already entered the basement via the vent.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
The
say.
clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best.
This close up on Paimon.
How do you like that?
Awesome. Freaking awesome.
Well played. To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
We don't, have the murderer was... Okay, it's time to make connections. Yeah, we've done this before, I guess. Okay.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility?
I'm not sure. Hypothesis incorrect.
The deceased's name is
This guy?
Cowell.
I mean, that's the only option I can think of, like, which is weird, because something clearly went wrong. Maybe, but why is the girl disappeared? If she, like, attacked back and succeeded and, like, threw him in the box to, like, I don't know, defend herself, where did she go? Did she not want to get arrested, so she hid in somewhere? Is that what this is?
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth.
Where did the missing Halsey go?
It would have been tough for both people.
How do I, like... How...
Linny was not in the tunnel.
Am I just selecting everything? What is... I don't understand the system. How can I prove there was an altercation in the tunnel?
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit. The sound we heard
Well,
may
this
have come...
one. Where did the missing Halsey go?
The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the No one entered or left the opera house through its
Where'd she go? What? Why is vent not an option?
Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
The game's just telling me, pick this one, pick the clothes. But oh, nope, that's still wrong. Oh, I am really failing at this.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring
Where in the
things
world
out?
did Halsey go? That's what I'm having a...
how it
I
is.
don't know. Escaping from the water take?
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Well, hold on a second, objection.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. It would have been tough for both...
Did she go in the vent? No.
Was it
Clothing. Nope.
the vase?
Broken
was
vase.
not
I guess. Why is that correct? What does that mean?
It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water...
Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment.
So she got to the
How
water
could
tank?
a
How?
person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
I request that we examine Cowell's personal effects.
Must we really?
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste.
Critical,
We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The
What does that mean?
primordial sea.
What is that?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty.
So he used it. Okay.
The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
That's what that
Could
is?
something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
I'm failing at this whole system because I'm clearly not understanding how it works. Who's the prime
The
suspect?
deceased's name
You.
is
What item did the culprit use to control the timing of the dissolution?
The water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped before Halsey Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead some form of triggering mechanism.
Maybe that?
The rope that strung the water tank up.
Is it
The water
just
from
the
the
obvious,
primordial-
like, vials,
Now
or
it
is
seems
it
like
this
the
hook?
hook
Is that
rope-
what the hook's for? What item did the culprit use to dissolve?
The water
Okay,
from the
this one.
primordial
What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime?
I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
Oh, yeah. Linny said there was, like, a box within the magic box. Like a little tiny hiding space. Oh, okay. And since he's the prop person, he put that in there.
In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water tank rope and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea
Bro, Paimon's
inside
smarter than
it
me. I didn't
would
even know
pour
that.
down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
Dang!
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence.
We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Linny's personal effects.
Uh-oh.
What?
That can't be.
He's still trying to frame.
Allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
No, not the accomplice thing. No.
Lenny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all, having made modifications to the props beforehand. His accomplice, but
Yeah, it's all the
upon
same
ultimately,
thing.
He knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon.
Oh, so they had a fight
Now,
instead?
As much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward
He just
conclusion,
decided to
it
attack
does
his
seem
accomplice.
that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization.
Wow.
Am
That's
I
quite
right,
a story.
Mr. Lenny.
We've
Nope.
used up
No,
all
you're
the
not.
evidence we collected. Is this the end of the road?
Paimon can't think of anything either.
I believe this is indeed the finale.
Wait, no!
Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Thank
Miss,
you!
I must ask you not to shout and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick, one that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lenny, if you would be so kind.
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on, Lenny and Lynette, give it another go.
I understand.
And voila.
Hey, who did the lights? What?
Sorry for the interruption.
Girl, where were you?
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't
How did
true
they find
after
her?
all?
She was
To be
hiding
clear,
because she
I'm only here
did the
because
killing,
this
right?
person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence.
Oh, so that's
I
how
was
you got
hiding
her
outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial.
I knew it.
I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I
Nice.
begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
But it was in self-defense.
What? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's
Wait, what?
Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt.
Well, never mind. Now, I think you're more guilty than I thought you were. I thought this was in self-defense, but you have a different name, so never mind.
I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never
Are you the
been
thief
caught
from
before.
earlier?
But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lenny was the one who caught me in the act.
Oh, it was you.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief.
And I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was onto me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me.
So it's
I
still
wasn't going to
self-defense.
take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house. But I swear I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
The fight did indeed break out in the tunnel. Can I say it was... How do I say it was between her and Cowell?
Lillian was afraid that...
Okay. How's he dissolved? The thumb?
The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The
Broken
flower vase was not
vase.
broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian and Cowell.
Yeah? Okay. I got it.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended.
That made that very complicated.
She knew that she would have to go through
I guess no one was really innocent
she
here.
tried to leave afterward.
Apparently, no one,
So,
literally no one here was
been
innocent.
trapped in the opera house these last 2 days.
Apparently, no one is innocent. That was
Lady
complicated.
Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks.
So what was that about him running over in the beginning and telling Lindy to come over and check on the props?
He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the oratories to make the final decision.
It just goes the other way. It's just, no, all that was wrong. I say that. Ah, it's really bright, apparently.
As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Woo woo! It was about to give them a false accusation and full-on charge.
I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to bring before this court?
I just assumed he was being framed.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes?
Wait, what? Where did this assumption come from?
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent mora off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about.
What? Wait, what just... He turned into water. What just happened?
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
Who did that?
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now?
The problem seems to have been solved for now.
That's true, but...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait. I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
Just didn't want to make sure anyone was falsely accused.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
Okay.
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past.
Sure.
Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
But it was the Fatui!
I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles. It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back.
Huh?
I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift.
Ew!
I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
What the actual hell?
No. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
What happened after that?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the Knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans.
Oh my god!
Father, I mean, the
This is
Knave
a greater crime than
might have
anything.
seen something in me, and so she made me an offer. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
Why am I being so unempathetic right now? Shut up, Traveler!
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on defending our homeland. To us orphans, the only connection we have left to this world, apart from our family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
What the frick, Traveler? I'm sorry, but I still can't completely I'm just gonna say I'm sorry.
It's alright. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate all this to you. I just hope you can understand
Why does
that
Traveler
even as a
see things
member of the
black and
house,
white? What the hell?
I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Linny.
I understand. Bro, I don't like the Traveler right now.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
I'm sorry, Navia.
Huh?
I was really only trying to defend Linny. I wasn't necessarily looking into the serial disappearances case.
Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all.
You're literally letting everyone
Sorry.
down right now.
I might have been too presumptuous.
Yikes.
Shall we have a farewell meal?
Huh?
It would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Bro, I'm so lame right now. Well, if you say so, let's go have that meal then.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm.
Oh, wonderful.
Alright, the hotel. Yeah, hotel.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking. We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
Yeah, he literally said boss and then it just cut off.
To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability. It's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. This was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
We wanted to ask the Hydro Archon for some information.
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended.
I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse?
Worth a try.
Well, why don't we give it a try after this meal?
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink? Sorry about that. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Guess we have to swim the rest of the way. Oh my.
Vache. Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be something nasty in the water.
Hell? I can feel strong emotions. Things are getting a little blurry.
Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kind of hear a voice. Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Hey, what the hell? What has been wrong with me lately? Huh? An Oceanid? Where's this? Did it go up?
Are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Wait. Who am I? My memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten?
You were once human?
Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I am but the consciousness of one who has lost their form. Our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new memories. The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vacher, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still remember. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness, I saw Vacher above the surface. His eyes were filled with such sorrow.
Wow.
Such longing. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think.
Goodbye. Hey, wait, what's happening? Wait, what the hell's going on? I just woke up! Why is there a fight breaking out? What the frick? What the hell did I miss in like 5 minutes?
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand?
Oh, okay, she's on our side. It's fine.
Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
Oh, do you
I
think?
believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
I doubt I know much more than you, but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
Yeah, what's
None
going
of these
on?
mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means, deploying them as a private force of sorts.
I don't much appreciate being followed.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
She says that, but she'll be hiding behind a tree real soon.
How did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Wait,
Really?
what?
Paimon contributed somehow?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did that help?
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky.
You mean that?
Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty?
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
What the hell?
Yes.
It's a good thing I'm not from
So
Fontaine.
if you hadn't drunk that cup for me, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
We gotta find this Vacher. We gotta find this person.
Vacher? That name doesn't ring a bell. This is very important information indeed. We will continue to investigate.
Alright, partner.
Oh, you mean you'll help us investigate?
Guess I got no choice.
Well,
Anyway, into their base. Whoa. Interesting. Oh, wow. There's actually kind of a lot of people down here. That's interesting.
So, this is your base?
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Thank you.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge.
Your father? He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
Yikes.
I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena.
Master Callus did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callus the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident.
If Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that.
There is one other thing. Master Callus's opponent in the duel was Ms. Clorand.
Oh, what? Huh? Well, then...
Ms. Clorand has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. She knew Master Callus beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made. Afterward, Ms. Clorand told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety.
That indicates that he intended to die in that duel.
Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
Navia? Where did the other
Good morning.
go?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back. But never mind that. When did you get back?
I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
So you didn't sleep at all?
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten. And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters. I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
Shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through.
Well, that was easy.
Please come in.
I'm very intimidated now. Look at this long hallway and everything.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Neuvillette. We only lied to get in because we didn't know any other way.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance to you.
We're looking for a man called Vacher. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
He's pretty chill. He's just like, alright, sure, whatever.
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vacher has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years. There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave now.
Ahem. Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel. Your father, Callus, was a truly exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
Are you trying to console me? No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort. You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead. In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear. If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel? Why didn't you give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away? Why did you just let him die? Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. There are still so many things I never got to tell him. If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone. My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Your father's case, was he outside when it happened?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Wait.
The fact that people can be
you
turned
don't
into
mean-
water!
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain? And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson. At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Oh boy!
Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mention that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Full of
Yes,
hallucinations? Yeah.
Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea.
Yep.
If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions. And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything. It's an extremely dangerous substance. My father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield.
Dang.
Not only that,
He was
the
a
boss
real
became
one.
determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation.
My father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant.
Sounds like something out of
The
a
man's
spy
name was Jacques.
movie.
He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse. That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground. Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
They could have belonged to someone who dissolved?
Precisely. Considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired.
There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself. Was I not the closest person to him? And yet I was the one most kept in the dark. What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callus the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly?
I think you're also ready to take this on.
So you do know something else, Maloose.
What is going
Yes,
on?
I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case. But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear. Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness. The doctors told him that he had no more than 5 years left to live. He decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details.
So nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
So he chose to die in silence, so that he could protect me.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, Demoiselle. If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely proud. One conclusion I came to is that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted here. When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions of the synth vendors. I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people.
Damn!
The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
How the... Maloose just had all this information and decided not to tell it to anyone,
Yes, surprising,
including
isn't it?
Navia. This is
He
really
was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans, and there's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
They're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards.
Do you need anything from us? After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support.
But aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques?
On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering. He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. For the longest time, he thought mora was everything. So when Mr. Callis came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
They found out about his betrayal?
Someone ordered Jacques to take out Callis?
I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to.
Hello, suspect number 1.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance today?
I feel like we should try to reopen his case. Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callis was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us at the table. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after? My first reaction was that Mr. Callis's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guards said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. Mr. Callis had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene. But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other guns on his person.
Hey, Thierry, it's me.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority to dispatch Gardamex?
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own.
We were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city. All you would need to do is get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Goodness, Navia!
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them. If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to miss. If you try to make unreasonable demand, removing a serial number is all. So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So whoever their owner is must be super rich, powerful, or both.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
The fact that humans can dissolve in water?
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating now?
Why was that? Why did that make you
still don't have
reminded
much
of that
solid
immediately?
Proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea. If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabriere will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory.
I don't know about that
The Confrérie
one.
was responsible for that banquet.
Especially
so
for
I was out
such
and
a
about the
traumatic
whole time,
moment?
making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
A gunshot.
Just all my wealth comes
Why
from
is there not
Callus's patronage
two,
and support.
huh? Why is there not two? Marcel.
If you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the most suspicious of them all. The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back to Uncle Marcel. We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. We've got another trial on our hands.
Huh?
But they said the person they're putting on trial is a Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
What the hell did he do this time?
Is that someone you know?
He's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
Yep, that's absurd.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away. If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Right. Because they'll think they've already found the culprit.
Let's split up.
Split up?
You can go to Air Eyes while I go investigate that place. Okay, I'm gonna end the episode here. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.